When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
The Oregon Ducks are getting ready for a Wisconsin showdown at Autzen Stadium, but more importantly, two star freshman running backs talk this week. We're going to talk a lot about those cats and more here on the Ducks Confidential podcast. I am Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian OregonLive, and he is George Wrighster of the CW and the Unafraid Show. George, how you doing? I finally got all four cards to stick up here. Can you see them? I put tape on the bottom.
You are doing the Lord's work over there, man.
I just had to get all four up there. So before we get to the Ducks, I just have to say something real quick. So this morning, my phone was buzzing, and I kept ignoring it because I was in and out of sleep. I'm like, why are people texting me? And then I checked my phone. I've got like 10 text messages about Chauncey Billups in this whole FBI investigation into the gambling ring or what have you. And then I get a bunch of texts saying, aren't you glad you're no longer covering the Blazers? Yeah, I'm more concerned about Chauncey. Chauncey was a pretty good deal. We had a good relationship. I'm hoping that this is not what it looks like on the surface. But man, what a crazy time in the state to have that happen with the Blazers, just when they actually looked pretty decent last night against Minnesota.
You are a journalist, Aaron. If your phone starts blowing up, answer it. These are the rules.
But they weren't calls; they were texts. That's different. It was ringing off the hook. That was different. It was just text messages, and I was in and out of sleep, so it's like, is there anything? What? And then finally, I was like, okay, what's going on?
Damn, that's probably a lot of. That's three of them. Four. Oh, let me look.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't even count them. I was just in and out of sleep. But anyway, like I said, innocent until proven guilty. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, Chauncey is not as involved as they're claiming. And who knows right now?
It's dangerous out here in these streets, man.
Yes,
it is dangerous out here in these streets, especially if from the understanding about Chauncey that this was probably before he was even the Blazers head coach. Whew.
Right.
Justice never sleeps, apparently.
That's like 6, 7, 8 years ago that he was allegedly playing these card games. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Regardless, it's still Blazer Nation. It's more bad news, right? It's just this franchise just can't seem to escape.
Oh, dude, it sucks. It sucks rooting for a poverty franchise that just can't just get out of their own way.
We get it. You're a Lakers fan, blah, blah, blah. You guys buy star players every decade or so. I get it.
Aaron, that was no diss against Portland fans because I actually appreciate – hold on. I appreciate Portland fans the way I appreciate like Raiders fans is that those are loyal people. Those are dedicated people. These are Ducks fans, and there's a reason why, like, they support the team and they're so passionate about it. Like, so it wasn't a diss. It was just like it must suck because you have to be loyal to something that's not giving you very much back. Whereas at least the Ducks, yes, exactly. Where at least the Ducks, they give you something to cheer about, and you've only had your heart broken in national championship games, and you know what I mean? Like you get your heart broken, but at least there's a lot of joy on the way.
Right, exactly.
On the ride there.
Right, and I can relate as a Cubs fan. My whole life I was waiting for them to win the World Series, and then they finally won it, and it was part of the joy of it was the angst leading up to it. And just I'd been a fan for maybe 35 years. Not, some people have been fans their entire life, starting at 70 years ago. But yeah, no. So someday the Blazers will break through again. Someday the Ducks will finally win one, and all the pain will be worth it. All right, moving on to the Ducks. So we're gonna touch on the Wisconsin game a little bit at the end, but I think let's start here with something I think is more interesting right now. So we've seen Lanning trot out some of the true freshmen periodically. We got Dorian Moore, we got Finney Jr., And now we got Dierre Hill and Jordon Davison back to back this week. I'm actually doing a feature that'll pop today on sort of both of them. Turns out they're BFFs. As a matter of fact, they both in their separate interviews talked about how they saw each other's film and like, it's just sort of like, I want to play with that guy. I want to play with that guy. And then they ended up, meeting and becoming BFFs, which I thought was very cute. You know
what's interesting about that?
What?
Is that one would initially think that running backs wouldn't want to play with each other because, like,
taking my carries, right?
back in the day, it was like, I want 25 carries a game. I don't want to share them.
I want to be the guy.
And now with the way football is now, you need, like, backs aren't going to take carries like that. Like right. You're not going to get 25 carries a game for 12 games. That you need somebody there. And so to like, and you look at the success that Reggie Bush and Lindell White had, that LaMichael and Kenyon had, and like, it's very, very doable in this era of college football. You look at what's happening at Notre Dame right now. Yes, there's a feature guy in Jeremiah Love, but the other kid, he going to the NFL too.
Right.
So those sorts of things happen, and it's cool to see that there can be a camaraderie and not a camaraderie even within the competition.
Right. Yeah, and you're right about the whole guys are not seemingly coming in worried about getting all the carries. So here's my thing. So they're both freshmen, right? So we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next few years, right? But man, they look good, right? They look really good. Davison has some Stewart and Freeman in him. Not quite as fast as Stewart, but faster than Freeman. But that big, 230. He's listed 236. I think Freeman was at 238, 6 foot, both same height. Dierre Hill is a little bit bigger than LaMichael and Barner. Those two are about 5'9". He's 5'11", 205. And those two guys about 195. It's a little bit bigger, but that same kind of that breakaway, like, wow, speed, right? So, in the perfect world, you got the next LaMichael and the next Stewart or Freeman coming up at the same time. So my question for you, though, is this: could this become one of the great duos in program history? And there's been a lot of great ones. We can go back. Let's go back to just 25 years. I'm going to run through a list real quick. You had Smith and Morris, whom you played with. Yep. You had Stewart and Jeremiah Johnson. You had Jeremiah and Blunt. Each had 1,000 yards in 2008. Then you had LaMichael, Barner, and Dat in 2011, DeAnthony Thomas. And then you had Barner, Dat, and Marshall. Then you had Marshall, Tyner, and Dat. Then you had Freeman and Tyner. They were so deep at running back that year, they moved Marshall, the wide receiver. He had 1,000 yards, which was still one of the most incredible things ever. A guy that had 1,000-yard receiving and 1,000-yard rushing in his career. Then you had a little bit of a gap where you were up and down at running back. And then you had Verdell and Dye for several years, although Verdell was hurt here and there. But to combine those two, combined for well over 2,500 yards, I think Dye crossed over 3,000. And then 2021,
that was probably like the least special out of like I would put them with the Jeremiah Johnson and whoever else as opposed like. But that was the production was there.
Yeah,
overall talent it was level, a good group of backs, but not a special group of backs.
Right, exactly.
Like where like Morris and Smith, that was a special crew.
Right.
Barner and Michael, special one.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that we've had some very good ones and then a few special ones.
Right. And then most recently.
And then of course, the ones with Dat and all of them, like, those are some special ones.
Right.
And I think that we got to, that we could be on the precipice of, well, I would say that the floor, I believe is one of the...
Can I finish my list, Fish?
Okay. Yeah, go on.
But,
I thought you were finished with the list.
No, we went Bucky and Noah Whittington.
Oh,
right.
I like Bucky.
And then we got Bucky. Then we got Bucky and James, and then we had James and Noah. Like, which again, we can say, okay, they're not maybe on a level of, that James Barner Dat. James Barner Dat probably as a trio. That 2011 season was insane.
Yes.
And we all knew Barner had number one back ability, which we saw the next year when he had 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns without LaMichael. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, so the question is, could Hill and Davison, are they going to fall in line with the, Bucky Noah, Verdell Dye, which Bucky Noah probably better than Verdell Dye, or are they going to elevate to James Barner and Morris Smith and Stewart Jeremiah.
I think the floor is that we're going to have, provided they stay healthy. It's a collision sport. Stuff happens. So provided that they stay healthy, I think that we have a floor of a very good backfield. A floor. Right. Now, what the ceiling can be is totally different. Like the ceiling is the roof. So you don't know, but I do. It's like, because when I look at players, when I look at draft picks, anything like that, I like to draft and judge people by what the floor is. Like, what is the worst thing I'm going to get? So that's why I would never draft guys who their floor could be where it just don't work out at all. Right. Like, I would never draft them guys. Or where like their floor is so low, but their ceiling, they could be the greatest player of all time. I don't want him. I do not want that player. Like, I would rather the player whose floor is a B- and the ceiling is a A-. Oh. You okay, bro?
We had a casualty.
Oh, so you're trying to kill me now, huh?
Continue.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
these cards are going to be the death of me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that I like players' floors way more than their ceilings. So I'd rather have a guy who has a floor of a B- and a ceiling of an A- than a guy who has a floor of a D and a ceiling of an A+. Right. Like, I like to know where the floor is, because you can win with a lot of, like, you can win at a very high level with a lot of fringe NFL players and some NFL players versus guys who, and then sprinkle in a couple special guys, as opposed to trying to just get special guys across the board, because that don't work. Right.
So we see it a lot in the NFL with quarterback, where teams will reach on quarterbacks in the first round, and they may have a second or third round grade. And it's like, well,
that don't make no sense.
He's 6'4", he's got a cannon of an arm. If we can harness all that, he could be great. But it's like, but at the same time, he could also be out of the league in 3 years. And there's just a litany of guys like that.
Dude, I was on a team when we drafted Matt Jones in the first round when I was with the Jaguars. Matt Jones, good dude. Love Matt. He's super cool.
Was he A&M?
No, he went to Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay.
He had never played a single snap of wide receiver in his life. He was a quarterback, option quarterback, basically. But he was 6'6", and he ran 4.3 at the combine. And they were like, ooh, let's make him a wideout, even though he's never done it. Man, Matt was not into, like, turning a quarterback and the amount of running that they do in practice and the preparation in terms of physically into a wide receiver, that don't typically work out unless they've done it prior. Because if you're a quarterback, like, you may run in practice maybe half a mile. And then, but the wide receivers, you may be running in practice and games 2, 3, 4 miles. And then think about the amount of shape that you got to get into to be able to run that in practice. Right. He wasn't prepared to do that. Like, we reached on so many dudes. Derek Harvey, who came in, didn't have a muscle to speak of. He took off his shirt the week after the draft. He was like, we drafted a DN from Florida with no muscles. So, yes, they reach all the time. Don't make no sense.
All right. I thought what a cool moment with Dierre Hill's press conference was he was asked about when he got a hug from Kenyon Barner after the Penn State game. Let's roll this clip.
Kenyon, he's an amazing mentor. I had a full spring to talk to him and just get to know him, and he was like here coaching us as well, just giving us pointers and tips. It's really been great. Especially him being an Oregon legend. It's truly a blessing to meet a guy like him, a Hall of Famer. It's honestly just the best. Like, I don't really know how to put it in the words, but I feel like my actions show louder than words. When we had our moment, when I got that hug from him, it was just truly everything. I was just embracing it because not a lot of people can say they hugged Kenyon Barner and got a valuable, valuable time from him. So it was just truly a blessing and an honor.
All right. I love that kind of stuff. First of all, I love Kenyon. Kenyon and I have always been really cool. I texted him. I tweeted out the video. I spliced in the hug. I tweeted it to him. He's like, man, nothing but love there. And, you know how I am about history. I'm always bringing up history because I believe you respect the past and then the future will respect you. And here's Dierre Hill, this promising young freshman, talking about that moment, getting that hug from Kenyon, and that Kenyon's poured into him and how much that means to him. And Kenyon was done playing when Dierre was what, 5?
Yeah.
Right. He was 2012 was Kenyon's senior season at Oregon. Dierre's a true freshman, so he's 19. So he was probably, that was 13 years ago. So yeah, like 5-6 years old. So I thought that was really cool. What'd you think of that?
I loved it. I loved it because it's important for the current players, like you said, to acknowledge the history.
Right. And
it's very easy. Like, we live in a hot take economy where a lot of people are like, I mean, how many times every year, Aaron, do we hear somebody say, "Oh my God, this guy's one of the GOATs. He should be a Hall of Famer." Yeah. And you're like, nothing about this dude's an actual Hall of Famer. Like, it's just mind blowing to me when like a guy who's still playing right now has had a great career. Remember when Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl with the
Ravens? Yeah,
with the Ravens, and people were like, "Oh my God, he's elite."
He might be one of the
no,
best
he's not.
ever.
He had a good run.
He had a great run.
Like, he's not like in the pantheon of NFL quarterback history. He's not. But is he did he have a great career? Did he have, make a lot of money? Did he win? All those things? Yes. But we got to reserve those things for the specialist of the specialist.
Right. Yeah. And I hate it when people do like, this is one of the greatest plays ever. And of course, my mind cycles through what I can still remember. And I remember similar plays. And I'll go on YouTube and pull them up. Go, you mean like this? And post it. Some play that happened in 1977. That was exactly the same.
It feels so big in the moment. Right. And you're like, dude, but when you see something special, like, for instance, like when Shohei Ohtani in the last game of the NLCS, dude pitches 6 innings of shutout baseball with 10 strikeouts and hits 3 home runs. Yes, that's one of the best baseball performances of all time. Like you think about, like, you can just go by the numbers. Like, how many times have there been 6 shutout innings of 10 strikeout baseball? That's few by itself. Right. And then you think about how many times somebody's hit 3 home runs in a postseason game. That's few. And then you think about that they happened in the same game by the same person. You're like, oh, yes, this is probably one of the greatest postseason performances ever.
You're not going to get around that. Like, we can all I think you can remember this. You're right. You might be old enough. When Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs against the Dodgers in the World Series. I remember watching that live. Yeah. That was incredible. But he didn't also pitch 6 innings.
Yes, correct.
And that was the World Series, but still, he didn't pitch 6 innings. But someone brought up the fact that, and I love the fact that people can go in and find these stats. I guess Babe Ruth in a game, I think it was a postseason game, pitched 9 2/3 innings and went 5 for 5. I don't know how many home runs he had, but regardless, that's obviously a special too. But that's a situation where there's no doubt that's one of the best. Yeah. Anyway, so we have a small sample size on these guys so far, and we have to be honest, they've not played very good teams other than Indiana. I think Hill had a solid game, or Davison had a solid game against Indiana.
In front of you, Aaron, and sometimes you win the schedule roulette.
Don't get defensive. This isn't a criticism. You get so defensive right away. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying it's a small sample size, and they've played some pretty garbage defenses, but you can still see elite traits. Hill's speed is just like, wow. Like it's like LaMichael, like D'Anthony, like Kenyon Barner, but a bigger body. Not quite as big as Stewart, who had Stewart and LaMichael were in the same 45 pounds apart, right? And then with Davison appears to me more agile than Freeman. Maybe not quite as fast as Stewart, though.
Wiggle. And Davison's probably going to drop another, like, couple percentage points of body fat and another about 7-8 pounds. And so I'm actually excited about this kid for next year. If he puts in the work in the offseason, that's an NFL back. I'm telling you.
So the potential is through the roof with those two. And just, when Davis, it's just different with certain guys. Like a guy can break a long run. You're like, wow, that was good. But sometimes guys break a long run and it's that instantaneous turbo, right? And you're like, whoa, that's pretty special. So it'd be interesting to see how those cats do. All right. Go ahead.
I just thought about something that we did not put on the rundown that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
And because of the last show, we were talking about, remember we were talking about the quarterback situation?
Miami again. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, Nova Sad, yeah.
Yeah. And remember, I came on and I said, I believe certain things, right? That I wasn't told and all that stuff. And turns out your boy was wrong. Because remember, Brock Thomas went in the game. And so I was like, yo, maybe they're trying to get a medical for Novosad, right? But that still technically could be true. But you had Dan Lanning, because people were wondering, they were like, why is Brock Thomas in the game in front of Luke Moga and in front of Novosad? And he said Brock Thomas has earned those reps in practice. He didn't specify a depth chart, but I do love the fact that everything is fluid every single week, that you have to earn your spot every single week. And he said Brock Thomas has been balling in practice and he's been doing a good job and that he's earned some reps. Now,
however, do you think that might have been some coach speak though? Because if they're trying to get a medical, he's not going to say that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I could have been right. Or that they are being so hyper competitive in practice that they don't want anybody to get comfortable, that when you start outplaying somebody, you move up.
Right.
That's one of the things that can keep your team in terms of engaged. Like, hey, yo, bro, like I can't get comfortable because if I string together a couple bad practices and this fool behind me string together a bunch of good practices, I don't get to go in the game.
Right.
So I think that both things could be true at the same time. But if Brock Thomas is that good, remember, nobody thought coming that Justin Herbert wasn't even talked about as a recruit. And Brock Thomas is a walk-on, I believe, but you're like,
is he?
How could this be possible? Huh?
Is he a 3-star recruit?
Yeah, but I'm not even sure if the kid's on scholarship. I have to look and see.
As a
but either way, you're looking at it and you're saying, if he's good enough to jump these dudes, if that is the true part of it, that's actually like encouraging, because we've seen good things out of Novosad. Moga's done some decent things since he's been in. That would actually be an encouraging thing.
That would be a huge upset if Novosad goes from competing for the starting job, and according to you, he was pretty close in the race to now being beaten out by a 3-star walk-on. That's an upset. The bottom line is we won't know for sure until if Dante goes down in a real game that's in depth.
Let's pray that does not happen.
Right. But even if it's for like a series or so, that's when we'll probably know.
Yeah. Now that's where the truth would come out. Like if Dante went down, even if it was just for the rest of the game, whoever if the score is still like, if it happened in the first quarter, you gonna know who's who at that point in time.
Exactly. All right. Glad you brought that up. Okay. Real quick. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to find my rundown here. I lost it. Real quick. So Lanning's press conference on Wednesday was under 3 minutes, which was hilarious. And no one else had any more questions. It's like, and I joked with James Krupia and I were joking about like, what else is there to ask about Wisconsin? I mean, they're a 35 point favorite, right? And as Lanning was walking off, I said, hey, we're saving our questions for Iowa week. And he kind of smiled. And I said something like, we can look ahead. We know you can't. But is there anything you want to say about this game that needs to be said? I mean, this Wisconsin team is not good. They've been shut out 2 games in a row. Oh, here's a question. Well, the Ducks shut them out. How about that? That's the question.
I don't think so. I don't. And he's staring at me with this face. Like, how are you? Like, are you getting ready to try to sell me on this team? I am.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
I do not believe that there's outside of an Angels in the outfield type performance.
Badgers in the outfield.
That they can win this football game. But I do believe that there's a world where a couple things can happen. Number one, their head coach, Luke Fickell, who people have been wondering about his future, he got a vote of confidence from the athletic director. So those types of things motivate teams, either when a coach gets fired, because I remember Jack Del Rio telling us in Jacksonville, he said there are two things that happen in professional sports. But now that there's the professionalization of college sports too, same thing applies on a lesser scale, though. There's two things that happen. Coaches get fired and players get fired. And he was like, the coaches just got fired. So the next people that get fired is the coaches. I mean, the players before the coaches get fired again. So when there's a change in leadership, the players are automatically like, everybody's on notice now. So when the vote of confidence happens, there was people in the locker room whispering, oh, man, is coach going to get fired? Bro, we're losing this, and this. And now you know he's not getting fired. And now you're saying, oh, okay. It's like galvanizing the team. It's almost like when Nebraska lost last week to Minnesota. Number one, I thought Nebraska was always a little bit, people thought too much of them. But they also played like a team whose coach was like, it looked a lot like the Utah-Oregon game when Cristobal had one foot out the door. That's what it looked like. Mm-hmm. So you can expect Nebraska to not play optimal Nebraska football until there's some clarity surrounding their coach. It's because of the whispers that happen in the locker room, because somebody in the locker room, I'm going to give you a prime example. My son's coach at UC Davis. He is he's a name that is fancied about for the Oregon State job. People are talking about him, maybe Colorado State, all of these things, right? And so I have wondered, like, ooh, is he going to take this job? So now, and then a couple of my son's teammates, because they know I work in the media, they're like, yo, do you think coach would take this job? I don't get into that conversation with them because I think it's bad for the team. Right. I'm like, nah, he said he's going to stay, whatever. And they're like, nah, for real. What do you think? So if I'm being asked that about their coach, imagine what's being asked in other locker rooms about Matt Rule, about whatever other coach. Those things impact the team because they're asked to buy all the way in. Coach are like, I need you to buy all the way in. Buy in. But then you're like, but you won't say you're not leaving. Right. How do you want me to buy all the way in? Okay. So it's like the human experience that you can't no longer give 100% because you don't feel safe and secure anymore. Right.
I hear you. So they'll score a touchdown?
Oh, with that, I'm going to give them somewhere in between 6 and 10. So either two field goals or a field goal and a touchdown.
Okay. All right. Fair. All right. So you sent me a text about an SEC referee scandal that you were dying to talk about. Let's hear it. What's going on there? Were games fixed? Is this in the NBA investigation?
No. So this is a crazy situation because there is a SEC official now. His name is Ken Williamson. And if you watch that, there are two major games that are in play here. Number one, if you guys remember the Oklahoma-Auburn game, when the guy did the trick play, when Oklahoma did the trick play where they were running off the field and then they stood the guy on the sideline and they threw it to him for a touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. I believe Auburn lost that game by less than a touchdown or exactly a touchdown. So they did not catch that play, which was clearly, I don't think anything's wrong with it, but it is against the rules. And the referees are supposed to catch that. But then the Georgia-Auburn game as well. So it just so happens there were 11 instances that were turned over to the SEC. 9 of them were found to have merit where something was like how is this possible? And remember the Kirby Smart timeout clap thing?
Yeah.
This was the game. They didn't charge them a timeout. They didn't give them a delay of game, nothing. So now the official is being barred. He's permanently out of game, out of the SEC and probably college football. So this speaks to the integrity of college football. And we were in the Pac-12 for a long time. And how bad were Pac-12 refs? Think about that Washington State USC game where the command center then called down and was like, no targeting. And you're like, wait, what? And like there's so many times where fans are looking at these calls. UCLA just had a phantom block in the back call. Dude wasn't even within 3-4 yards of the dude. And they caught, and you're like, this is weird. So now people are questioning the integrity of the game and the integrity of the officials, because there's a difference, Aaron, in saying, all right, we blew these calls and we're going to reprimand the referee, and permanently banning a guy who's done a lot of postseason games and all of this stuff, because that makes you think, this is something to this. And now if you're Auburn, can you really justify firing Hugh Freeze when 2 of the games you got like you might have got hosed in?
Right.
So that's where I'm at. What are your thoughts?
I'm not as deep into the weeds of this as you are, but to me, the fact that they're suspending him is huge, and it's good because the thing that drew me to sports is the competition and the drama of it all. And the last thing you want are officials messing up the games because they're either incompetent or there's something more going on. Because that just ruins everything. And if you ruin the integrity of the game, then you're going to lose the fan base because people are going to be like, that's just not real. And bad calls happen. We all know that. History is filled with bad calls. But especially when you can review things and you still do things like I still don't understand the targeting. Not that there was anything nefarious going on, but like the hit on Jaden Lamar at Penn State.
Yeah.
And how was that not target? Oh, because he was a moving target and his head came down. No, dude led with the crown of his helmet and hit another kid just smack dead. I mean, things like that make fans go, what is going on? How's that a thing? Yep. So I like the fact that they're doing this because you got to maintain the integrity, period. And that's one of the reasons why people ask, how come someone, if they gamble on sports, will get a harsher punishment than someone who committed domestic violence or a crime? And it's like, I'm not saying morally it's, the same thing, but it's because leagues know that if you allow gambling to happen, you ruin the entire league, period.
Yep.
Because everyone,
because then it's WWE.
Exactly. So anyway, good for them.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, I think it's good, but it is also a little bit, it just brings to question about like, okay, were they just bad or was there a reason why there was bad? Right.
Definitely. All right. Anything else?
No, I'm good, man. I think we got to make score predictions.
Oh, yeah, I guess we got to. I had 51-7. I had 51-10. I think I came down to 51-10.
I'm going to go.
I'm rolling with the Badgers right here. No, I'm just kidding. Oregon.
We'll go 41-6.
Actually, no, I dropped down to 47. 47-10. Yeah. We'll go with that. 47-10. A lot to a little.
Because I'm like, Iowa scored 37. Ohio State scored 34. We're playing at home. 41 feels about right. I mean, it could drop down to 35 depending on the field goal situation, but you know.
And Oregon's been calling off the dogs late in games.
Yeah.
They haven't been trying to pad.
And Wisconsin's defense is significantly better than the other one.
The other team, yeah. Like even Oklahoma State, they got 2 pick sixes, which that's what made it really bad, right? That's what made it as bad as it was. You take those away, it's still, reasonable. And you can't do anything about the quarterback throwing the ball right to your guys, right? So,
yeah.
All right, that's it for this episode of the Ducks Confidential Podcast. It was brought to you by Travel Lane County, an organization that promotes travel and tourism in the Eugene, Cascades, and Coast region. Ducks fans can find out more at www.eugenecascadescoast.org. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week to review this monumental Wisconsin game. Then you got a bye week. Then we get to the meat of the remaining part of the schedule. Iowa, Minnesota, SC, UW. Can't wait.
Don't sleep on Minnesota, bro. I actually think that the Minnesota team might be tougher than the Iowa team.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.